What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is a big day. Today I get to put on the first mod to my 10th gen Civic. For those of you who didn't watch my first video, I've got a 2020 Honda Civic EXL that I'm looking forward to doing a lot of stuff with. And I'm sorry it took so long to put this video out, but reached out to someone, got a response, and guess what we're putting on the car today? Take a look. Got some Suma performance side markers. What? All right, so just a disclaimer. This is my 2020 Civic EXL, and I've already changed the side markers. I tried to do what everybody else told me to do. Oh, just get the eBay special, but this is what happens. Look at the size of that crack. Plus, the DRL doesn't work. It comes up amber. The turn signal doesn't work even though it's spliced in originally. And yeah, so for all the people that are like, oh, just get eBay special, just get eBay special, this is what you could end up with. Not always the best thing. But we got some Suma side markers now. And I want to give a big shout out to Eddie over at Suma Performance, who hooked me up with a discount code to pick these up. You know, big shout out, helping out the channel, getting things done. Ooh, those are sexy. Oh, those are sexy. Smoked out, plug and play option. So that's what's coming up on the channel. Let's jump into it. All right, guys, so we're gonna get into this real quick. We're gonna start on the driver's side. And it's a very simple install. A couple screws you pull out, move the panel out of the way, unclip the side marker. And there's a lot of videos out there, but I think I found a couple different ways to make it a little bit easier on you. So I'm gonna hand you off to my wife, who's gonna be doing the recording. And we'll get into this. All right, guys, so sunny, it's hot. I'm gonna try and get this done as quickly as possible. So first, you're gonna start out, rotate your tire to the far side, point it away from you so that you get access under the wheel well. We're gonna come up underneath the wheel well. You got two screws, one on the lower side, one on the upper side. That's gonna allow you to move the panel out of the way to get access to the side marker. Do that now. They're not on there tight. Well, little screwdriver. Do everything you got to do. Just be careful, don't strip it out. You strip it out, you're screwed. Making a trip to go get a new one. So then you're just going to push this out of the way. And you can actually reach your finger right back in here. I don't know if you can get a shot of that. There's actually a clip right here, right on the back side. I just take it and I push my thumb in. It pops right out. And then give it a little bit of wiggle, and it comes right out. You're gonna take it, just grab a hold so that you're not scratching your paint job. I love my paint. A lot of people are like, whatever, I'm gonna change it anyway. I love my paint. So we're just gonna take it, pull it out. That one just popped out. That just shows the crap quality. So this is what we were working with. That is the new Suma. Much better smoke. It's actually darker, and it actually looks like it fits a little bit better. The shape of it seems to fit that drop a little bit better. So let's get it installed and see what it looks like. So a lot of people are like, oh, just make sure you check your polarities. Obviously, black is going to be ground, red is going to be power. It's very easy. Just take a look on the inside here. You've got a gray and black wire for the 2020s. I know they have the black and gray when you get into the Type Rs and your sports and hatchbacks, SIs, things like that. They may come with a bigger harness, so a lot more wires. Those are going to depend. You have a blue and a green wire on those, and that's going to be all dependent on the model that you have. For the base models, the non-manuals, it's going to have more than likely a black and a gray. and gray being the power. That's what we're going to be tapping into to get the turn signal to actually make it a switchback marker. So let's get in. This is going to be very easy. Red, right side. Look for the gray. Gray's on the right side. We're going to plug that in. And I always tell people, check before you do anything. Because right now, if I turn this on, I should be able to get the DRL. So as you see, just doing that, you can check to make sure. A little bit of a flicker, so it's got to get a little more of a push, but DRLs are in, which means I'm getting power to it, no issue. It's not polarized, it's not flipped, so we're good to go on that. Give that, just make sure that you really give that a push. We're actually going to take this, and just to make your life a little bit easier, take that, pull that out, and then push, and you want to rotate. So you're going to find the right orientation. You've got multiple prongs in here with different size. So you just want to make sure everything fits properly. And you just rotate it to where you need it to be. That is one of the beautiful things about the Suma Performance, is it allows you to just keep rotating. Where other ones I've seen, they don't. It's one way, one fit. So now I'm gonna hook this in first. I'm not gonna push it all the way in and pop it in, because we have to still fish our turn signal wire, which is a lot nicer on one of these because it comes with a separate connection, so fishing it is a lot easier. So I can run it through, get what I gotta get into the engine bay, and then plug it in and play, rather than fighting with this and it flopping around as I'm pulling on a wire up here. So we'll do that next. So this is actually the cable that they send in the switchback model from Suma. It's the connector that's actually going to connect into the side marker, and this is what you're going to use on the other end to splice into the turn signal. Very simple. They send the connector, it works. A lot of people are like, oh, those quick splices don't work. They work. You just have to do it properly. I'll show you how to do that when we get to that point, but this makes life a lot easier when you're trying to fish and bring it into the engine bay. It's actually very short. There's a nice size gap between the frame and the body of the car that you can get your hand in and pull up the excess. But once you get up into the engine bay, you want to make sure that you trim it. You don't want an excess for something to be flopping around, get into something hot, mess up, melt it. Then what's the point of having the switchback if you're melting out the wires and it's not working? So we'll get into that. I'll show you where the connection is and where the fishing is going to start. So if you look right down here in the frame, right off the driver's side tire, you look straight down, you're going to see a big gap. I got my fingers in there so that you can see right where it's coming from. You don't have a large distance that you have to cover. You're literally going to fish this through here, bring it straight up and into the engine bay. The turn signals are right here. So I'm actually going to go ahead and pop that out now. You just stick your hand in here. It's a quick connection and it pulls out. And as you see, there's that gray and black wire. So remember, we're going to splice into the gray. We have to splice into the power, not the black being ground, because it's not going to work. So I'm going to show you a quick way to check just to make sure that you are getting a good connection from the connector without having to splice into the connection. So first we're going to fish this through, and like I said, the easiest way to do it, that's going to stay on the bottom. We're going to run this in and then bring your hand into the gap. And I've got big arms, I've got big hands, and I have no problem. And then now from here, you can just fish it around and bring it in. So no issues. You know, obviously, like you see, there's a lot of wire. So that's one thing you don't have to worry about. Oh, is it gonna reach? Oh, is it gonna do that? It's gonna reach. If it doesn't reach, you did something very, very wrong. All right, guys, so what you wanna do is you wanna grab yourself a good set of strippers. These are valuable. You need these. So I'm gonna show you a quick way to check, make sure everything's good. You're gonna take it, strip it. You don't need a lot, maybe a little bit more. This is gonna end up getting trimmed anyway, obviously, so that it fits and doesn't hang around anything that it doesn't need to. And just give it a quick strip. And this is a way for you to be able to test to make sure that that is the proper connector that you're going into. Gray, and stick it into the gray hole. It's in. Doesn't matter if some sticking out. Come down to the connector, put the connector in. You've got one prong, one prong. Hard to mess it up. It also has a lock. So, pops, good to go. Now, you can come over, turn the car to accessory mode, check the turn signal. Yeah. And just like that, now you know, yes, you've got a good connection. So one other thing I will say is, once you've done that, you're gonna wanna come down here, pull this tape a little bit, and tape cover, plastic, shrink wrap, you know, the satisfying stuff when you peel it off. You wanna get it off the edges, because when you go to put it in, it's going to be a pain in the ass, because obviously this is just added dimension to the light. So I just pull it to the edge, off the corner. They do a great job of making sure that that light stays protected. Just kind of tuck in your connector there. You're gonna want to angle it so you've got a grip here that has to go into the front hole, all the way in the very front end of the, right in there. You're gonna angle that in first. Just make sure your wire's out of the way. Once you angle that in, everything will kind of work its way in. See, just like that. And then what I'll tend to do is just work it slowly. Come in, and then you can just give it a little push. So you want to give it a good push to get that connector in the back. I'll stick my finger behind it and help from the other side. Just like that, and just give it a little push. There you go. Now it's in there, seamless. You don't gotta worry. So now we're gonna go up top and splice that in. Once you get to this point, this is installed, you're gonna come up top. That's how much excess there is. That's a lot of wire. If you need it for jumpers, things like that, there you go. Come up, you're gonna grab your cutters and do a nice little pop. Get that out of the way for now. Put those to the side so that you can strip. So now you've got that there. You don't need to strip a lot. If anything, I strip a little bit off the ends just to ensure. But what the quick splice does is that's actually going to tear through the plastic that's on it. I just leave a little bit of a nub. That's it. But these quick splices are going to go in. This is going to go in just like that, with the gray wire on the other side. and then you press down on this piece, and as you can see, there's 2 holes. If you can catch that, there's 2 holes. That's what each one of the connectors go to, and that splices into the wire. And as you press down, it cuts through. So that's what creates your connection for the turn signal to the side marker. So I'm gonna do this out of the way. Now what you're gonna wanna do is obviously cut back the trimming on here. This is what keeps your stuff watertight. That's why I always keep the 3M tape. This is gonna keep it nice and watertight once we're done, because you're gonna have to wrap this up. You don't need water getting into this. You're talking about a splice. All right, guys, so something happened with that last video, and something messed up. So I'm gonna show you what I did, and it's not a lot. So what you're gonna do is now you're gonna cut back the trimming that's around the wires to expose your black and grays. Like I said before, the gray is what we're gonna be splicing into. These quick splices have the holes in the front, so you're gonna place that in first. Don't drop it into the abyss of the unknown, like I just did. All right, guys, so this is why I always keep an extra set of stuff on hand. It's just helpful. Anybody that's ever dropped something into an engine bay, you know, you're not finding it. When you go to do something else, then you'll find it. But, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna come right to the front. This one's a little bit tighter than the other one, so I tend to just flex it a little bit. But there's a cap on these, so you wanna make sure that you have the open ends, because then there's the cap. That's what we're gonna stick the fishtail in, and then the gray wire is gonna go into the open one. So, open, gray wire, in and in. So it just pops in just like that. Then you're gonna take wire that runs to the side marker, place that bad boy right on the inside until you can't push it anymore. Then you're gonna grab a pair of pliers. I'm using some needle noses, channel locks work. You just wanna add pressure. That's gonna push down the splice, which is this bad boy right here. Give it some good pressure. As you see, it pushes it down, and then you wanna tug on this. If that doesn't tug, then you know it's secure. But check. Just to make sure that that worked, we're gonna check. You can go in. All right, guys, so as you see, we got the sequential turn lights going. I did have to change the connector again. The other blue one that I had just wasn't making a good connection, so I swapped to a slightly smaller one. So you're just gonna press down on that metal tab. That's gonna splice into both wires, causing the connection. You're gonna come over with this tab. You'll see a lot of people push this down and then use this to press on the metal tab. I don't advise that, just because this is the lock for this splice to stay in place. And if you crush that, there's a chance that you could mess up the lock on it. And we don't want to do that, because I don't want the shifting around and messing up the wires. So press it down with the pliers, and then press the lock over. It'll keep it sealed and connected. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and trim this back, and I'm gonna wrap this up with some of my my 3M tape over here. And we'll do that and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so what I did was I went ahead and I taped up everything. It's all nice and watertight. Everything's running together. I went ahead and I plugged back in the turn signal so that we can check and make sure that with the connection in, so it's not a rapid turning signal, since that wasn't hooked into the light bulb. Let's take a look and see how that works. And just like that, you see, it's a normal turn signal. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. Showed you how to do this side, and once I'm done with that side, we'll bring it back in. As you see, I got this side done now. This was a little bit more of a pain in the rear end though, So as you see, I had to move the tire out because I had to fix up muscle on that side, but this was a little bit more of a pain. You don't have as much room when you get up here because you have the reservoir for your window washer fluid, so it's a much tighter space. I actually had to come in to the top and underneath the wheel well to fish my connection through, but once you get it through, it's plug and play just like the other side, splice in like normal. And this side is actually a brown and black wire, not a gray and black wire. So remember, brown is your power, black is your ground on the passenger side, and then gray is your power on the driver's side. So that's it for today. I'm gonna come back with a couple photos and a video of this at night so that you can really see how it looks. I'll throw it in hazard now so that you can really see the sequential lights, how they work with the turn signals. But I think the nighttime is where it's really gonna shine. Give me a second.